Hi, and welcome to the Writing on the Wall, where we use graphology to reveal the real personality and character behind public figures. It's a sort of body language, but it has the added plus of how we can see people interact with each other. So let's take a look at Team Trump-Vance. Both Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have one thing in common. They're both trying to hide something from others. Donald is actually trying to hide his kinder self behind a completely aggressive go facade, and J.D. is hiding or trying to hide a more impatient self behind a charming, warm, and people-oriented facade. As a team, they just don't work together well. They're actually going to drive each other to distraction. Trump, who can push people aside to do his thing, won't be able to dismiss Vance, who just can't see or react to the big picture. You see this in comparing the body of the writing, which is their true self, to their signature, which is what they want people to see. Although Vance's signature is larger, the body of his writing is smaller, meaning focused. So when he leans forward, he can focus more. People who write bigger can look around the environment and react to it. When you're focused and writing real tiny, you're concentrating and you can't see the big picture. So although his signature exudes warmth and an easy way about him, the body of the writing shows irritation and frustration. Trump's signature is angular and pointed, meaning aggression, which in graphology can be a good thing. It's the ability to take advantage of new opportunity. His signature portrays a tough person who'll take on any challenge. And both the body and signature are larger, showing he sees the big picture and reacts quickly to it. With Trump, this is double quick, as he relies on himself to think things out and doesn't take much time to do it. He doesn't stop to listen to others or even to analyze his own thinking. He just goes for it. He relies mainly on intuition or a gut feel. So how will these different ways of reacting to the world affect each other? Well, if you can readily see new opportunities and want to quickly react to them, how would you feel about your right-hand man being so focused on details he can't even see what to react to, let alone how to react? In fact, you slowly realize this right-hand man is going to need much guidance. And if you need to provide this, you'll be slowed down even further. So what will this quick thinker and responder want to do? Give up his time to guide this man or just get rid of him altogether? It's going to take time to get rid of him, and it may look bad. So Trump may just go on his merry or not so merry way. He may just leave Vance in his dust, and as always, go along on his own and feel more isolated than ever. He feels he's the only one who can do the job, right? And I'm afraid that looking at Vance, he'd be right. And Trump may even be confused by Vance, a Yale Law School graduate who wrote a best-selling memoir, but he won't think about it for long. They'll function less and less as a team as the campaign continues. And with his right-hand man letting him down, more resentment will build at having to do it all by himself. He's the only one who can do it, whatever it is, right? He may even think he's giving so much of his life up in serving others. So people better not question him. He's got enough people to get even with as of now. But he is Donald J. Trump, and he'll take on even more to show he's the only person who can do it. And that he has every right to get even if he feels like it. He's just making things right, after all. And in his eyes, he is. For the future, hopefully Vance will take on a structured job where he can pretend to act autonomously and even be able to take on his signature self, being charming, warm, and positive if he still thinks this suits him. It depends on if the effort is worth it. He can pin his troubles in the near past on other people and circumstances, but he may never like his surroundings, as that's habit by now. When he's at last alone, which he loves, perhaps he can become a bit more relaxed and even achieve a bit of the relative ease he wants others to see in him. Trump's handwriting shows that it's in his nature to be of service. Unfortunately, we see a lessened service orientation now, possibly due to increased resentment. His connections to others have turned to analysis or figuring out how to interact to best serve himself. And what we still don't often see is his warmer and nurturing protective side, as seen in the body of his writing, as it's hidden behind a wall of aggressive self-reliance or a stance of, I don't need you or anybody else. It's hard to always appear strong, and hopefully he'll find a time when he can relax a bit, be with Melania, with whom he truly is compatible. And there's an upcoming video about he and Melania. And I'm sure Vance feels the same way about his family. It just may not be so readily seen through his handwriting. So I don't even know if we should end this up with Team Trump-Vance. Over the campaign, it'll emerge that they're more and more not a real working team. When I worked in personnel selection, I was sometimes asked to do team building workshops. And handwriting analysis is great at seeing how individuals are similar and how they complement each other. And it's often the complementary personality traits in a team which are most important. It's relatively easy to hire all great salespersons using Graphology, but how they interact together can be of utmost importance to the company, even if it's how they present themselves. In one larger company I consulted with, they had a system of hiring salespersons who would go out as teams. One would be the friendly, amiable one to open and close the sale, and one would be the detail-oriented, methodical one, who explained the nuts and bolts of what they were buying. It worked great. And Trump may have picked Vance, seeking the amiable, charming, friendly soul who would balance out his direct and aggressive approach. And that's what Vance sought to portray through his signature, subconsciously. In a perfect world, they could fill each other's gaps. But because they're projecting something they're not, they won't. Anyhow, what you see is not necessarily what you get. Looking at handwriting, we can get a deep dive into personality and character, and even the way two people interact as a team, or in the case of Vance and Trump, a non-team. I do believe graphology is the best method of psychological assessment, but it has a margin of error of roughly 30%. Although that's pretty good for a projective test. And I know of no other assessment tool which can lend insight into how two people interact. There are some tests that try to do that, but these tests largely group people, sometimes into 4 main groups. I'm afraid there are more than 4 main groups of people out there. According to Graphology, each handwriting is unique to the individual. That's why we sometimes find amazing traits particular to the individual, and graphology is sometimes seen as psychic. It's not. But we do look at over 300 strokes in a cursive sample to evaluate a writing. So the combinations, of course, are endless and so unique. For more information on graphology, just check out my website or my other videos. And subscribe to my channel to receive notification on upcoming videos on the 2024 race to the White House. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.